Evening, everyone. Welcome back to another live preview. This week we got Ryan, Jake. Also, we're gonna have Josh from Pirate Pundit here be on soon. How's it going, lads? You good?
Very well. Tired, but very well.
Good. So yeah,
I'm all right,
first,
thank
good. Oh yeah, we got Josh. He's just joined. I'll get him in. I'll get him in now. Evening, Josh. You good?
Evening.
He's smartly dressed. You know he's been busy. He's smart. He's smartly dressed. He's dressed for the occasion. That's for sure.
This is how I dress it all the time.
But yeah, just before we get into it, I want to say thanks to everyone who's subscribed as well, because we just hit 1.5K, which is crazy. So keep showing the support. Really does mean a lot. Drop a like on the video as well. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't. Also get your questions in, and we'll go through them when we can. But yeah, to get off with, obviously we'll go over the recent game, which was Accrington Stanley. Crazy game.
Who are they?
I mean, who are they like? But yeah, we'll start off with Jake first. What's your thoughts on that game?
Well, it was like night and day. It was something I never sort of expected there. I mean, it was one of those games where you know, without Rovers a bit, we probably turned up and nick a 1-0. But the way of form we've been, I just thought, you know, I mean, as long as we can keep the score down. But yeah, we did excellent. We did really, really well, and it was good to see sort of us command the game and control the game. Yeah, we did it for the most part against Shrewsbury, but I think the Gascast guy said it the other day. They said whereas sort of the previous few managers, even under Coughlin, we score a goal, then we sit back for the rest of the game, and so we actually, you know, we kept the shape. And some people will say the shape that we've been playing has been a lot better under Barton. So it's starting to come together. But yeah, fantastic performance from near enough start to finish. So yeah, can't really complain. I'm sure I'll find a way. But yeah, it was a really good game Tuesday.
Yeah, definitely. Josh, what's your thoughts on it? It was just such a crazy game, wasn't it? No one was expecting nothing really. I mean, to be honest, I think I was one of the only few positive people that us predicted a win before. I said 2-1, but yeah, what was your thoughts on it?
It was everything you wanted, really, from a reaction after the whole game. I think, you know, dropping Handon and bringing in a hungry Oyunga, I thought he was absolutely fantastic on Tuesday night. The way in which he held the ball, brought others into play, and the shape we maintained. Even like the likes of like Luke Leahy, I thought he had a brilliant game, not only offensively but defensively. And we were playing an open, expansive game of football, which Barton's promised, and he's not resting on his laurels. You know, he said he was gonna get a reaction out of them and drop a few, and those players that came in and you know, they proved the point, and it was more than what I expected, but we could have even won by more.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy, wasn't it? Obviously, 4-1, and you know, like you said, we hit the post a few times. We hit the bar. You know, I mean, for me personally, I've got to say, like that performance from Oyunga, I think that was the best performance I've seen from a player without him actually scoring, because the way he was holding the ball, and I mean his dribbling is crazy for like quite a tall guy. He must be what, 6'1", 6'2", and the way he dribbled, that shot he had in the second half when he, you know, took on like two defenders and hit it. It was just crazy, and he deserved the goal. But hopefully he can start, you know, this coming weekend, and hopefully get on the score sheet, because he really deserved it. We go with Ryan now. What was your thoughts on the Accrington win?
We dominated. Oh,
I think he's having some issues. I'll just remove him again. I think his connection's not the best. But no, it was really good. Obviously, you know, as well, you know, Hanlon was you know, rested for that game. Obviously, still carrying a bit of an injury. What's your thoughts? Do you reckon he should just keep resting for a bit, especially the way, you know, Oyunga I mean, even though Ayunga hasn't really started that many games this season, I can probably count on one hand how many games he started. He just looked so confident, didn't he? He's come on the pitch, his skills, his hold up play. Jake, what's your thoughts on Ayunga and him just coming in the team and just looks like a player that's been playing for ages, really?
Yeah, he's certainly got that confidence about him, I think. And I said that Rovers kind of, they need players, I think, and also with a bit of arrogance, but sort of with a bit of, I hate to use the term flair, but sort of with a bit of swagger about themselves, and kind of like in the way sort of Malik Wilkes does for Hull City. I mean, you might make a mistake or throw his arms up in the air and then he'll go win the ball back and dribble past 4 or 5 players. I think Ayunga's kind of got that attitude about him, but in a good way. And yeah, he just seems to have a lot of confidence in himself. Hopefully he can start to score more goals. And personally, right now at this moment in time, I don't see Hanlon or Ayunga as like 20-goal season strikers. But I don't see any reason why, as we go into next season, why they can't get sort of 15 plus each if they can. I'm not sure if them together would work. I don't think we've even seen them play together, but. It just gives a different option up front, and I think. But yeah, he's doing really well, and I think if he can even score, another 3 or 4 goals between now and the end of the season, those handful of goals might be enough to keep us up. So yeah, all credit to him. I think he should start Saturday.
Yeah, I completely agree. Josh, what about you? What's your thoughts on Ayunga? I mean, obviously, just before you say it's just disappointing that he come in and he got that injury, won it straight away. That's the only disappointing. But yeah, what's your thoughts on Ayunga?
Yeah, every time I've seen him play, he's you can see what he what's in his locker, and he uses what he has to his advantage. The fact he's quite a powerful centre forward who gets the ball down, brings others into play. I mean, it's not all about goals with Jonah, where Hanlon's a bit direct. But it was frustrating in the season, looking like he was going to feature quite heavily, and then getting that hampered sort of injury. And I think the lack of trust in the previous managerial regime really affected him, because he was going on about the lack of goals and stuff. But the fact that Ayunga offers a little bit more in terms of he can provide put it on a plate for the likes of Nicholson, bring Westbrook into play, get the wing backs out wide into play. There's so much more to his game he offers at the moment to Hanlon, but whether or not that's because Hanlon's hampered by injury, got expectation on his shoulders of this goal scorer, which he's never been. And it's kind of like what happened with Tommy Nichols, really. He came in with this price tag on his head and that expectation, a false expectation, because his whole career he played in a certain way, which doesn't get you 20, 30 goals a season. I think Ayunga's not in the same mold, but the same sort of player, as in he'll get that ball down, and defenders will dump him, and that brings into play, and he's a lot less selfish with the ball, and I think that's only going to benefit us for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously Ryan just said his Wi-Fi and data is bad, but no worries. I'll just put the link in, so if anyone else wants to come on, just click on the link and it'll take you straight through. So I've left that right here, so if anyone does want to come on and join in, that'd be good. But yeah, I get what you're saying there about, I think Nichols, even Hanlon. Hanlon's had a massive expectation all season to be that player to replace Clark Harris, obviously, of course, which is always hard, especially when I think Rovers are not like the biggest club in the league, but we're quite big as in like the fan base. And I think a lot of fans, maybe including myself, sometimes put a lot of expectation on players. And I think, like you said, that's what happened with Nichols. The fact that he'd done all right in his first season at Peterborough and then come to us, and then they're sort of both the same. I think Hanlon and Nichols, where they work hard. There's always effort in there. Like, you don't see them, like Jake said, other players and other teams will put their hand up or get annoyed if the ball and if it isn't working for them. But with us, it's sort of different. We're also going to go on a little bit of a different thing. We'll start with you, Jay. If there is any cons from the game, or any bits you thought that Rovers could have done better, what would you have said from Tuesday night?
Obviously, the defending from the goal wasn't great. I mean, I defend Joe Day more than most, but he's been beaten at that near post quite a lot of times. So that's probably the only real criticism you can throw there. But apart from that, that's probably about it, really. I feel sorry for Joe Day. He came in with quite a lot of buzz, fanfare, and whatever sort, because he did such a good job in Newport. And he hasn't played really for over a year. Like, development games are meaningless. I mean, we lost the development game to Exeter, and a few people got really annoyed with it. But he's been playing, reserve football. Even if he's been playing that, I'm not even sure. But he's come in and he's all his confidence is shot for Joe Day. So I feel sorry for him, because I thought he could have. I thought, had he done well enough, and he still might play well for the last 15 games, but I thought he could have been a real viable option to get permanently in the summer. Because I don't think you can keep relying on Jacola. And I like Jacola, but he's injured for half a season. Yeah, he's so if someone put a name out to me for a keeper, I'd say Joe Lumley, because he's not getting in the QPR team. So but yeah, so in regards, because of Tuesday, the defending for the goal wasn't great. It's nothing new. I mean, things aren't going to change overnight. But that's being nitpicky. But hopefully we'll learn by the end of the season, I think. So yeah,
I hope so.
Hopefully, we said that all season, but there you go.
Yeah. I mean, let's hope. I mean, to be honest, we did look pretty solid. There was that one bit in the first half where the goal scorer for their goal in the second half hit the post, but apart from that, literally, because I remember looking at the stats for possession at the end of the game, and Accrington, I think, actually had more, but that's because they was literally just passing it around the back and then hoofing it. Their main striker Charles, who was playing, couldn't get a look in. He even got took off early. So we go with Ryan. Ryan's back on. Hopefully his connection's going to be all right.
Ryan.
What was your thoughts on the whole game?
The Accrington game.
Yeah.
I thought we completely dominated the game from start to finish. We looked the better side, and we deserve to get all the 3 points. I mean, that's probably the best performance that we've put on all season.
Yeah, definitely.
And Oyunga, like probably everyone's here said, deserved to get a goal. He's unlucky not to. And quite rightly was man of the match, because he played immense.
Yeah, completely agree. Just got a few comments. Penguins joined. How's it going, mate? Gar said Steve is in as well. Hope you're well. Also, so yeah, Josh, we'll go with you. If there was to be any sort of negative from the game, what would yours be?
I think Jake touched on it again. Is game management. It won't happen overnight. Joey Barton's well aware of our sort of our flaws and the game management side. Sometimes we switch off in key areas, and our keeper did at the front post. But apart from that, there's not much to be sort of sour about, because we sort of strangled Accrington out of possession and allowed them to play, like you said, in their own area, in their own box, where it wouldn't hurt us. And in weeks gone by, they've bypassed our midfield and, putting 3 or 4 passes together in that 6-1. They were doing 3 or 4 moves and they were in our box. But we were defending higher up the pitch, which just completely sort of eradicated that threat. And apart from that, it's the game management. We say it every week. It was only 1 this time, so hopefully there'll be none on Saturday.
Yeah, fingers crossed. George Ficknell says, who would you start up top Saturday? We'll go over the everyone's lineups, who should start, and predictions in a bit. So just stay tuned for that. There's also one thing I want to touch on as well, because including myself, thoughts on Ed Upson, because he's been last season he was sort of like average. Some games he'd play well, and other games he'd be awful. But I want to get everyone's thoughts on his performance against Accrington, because I thought, apart from the first sort of 10 minutes where I think we looked sloppy. We started quite slow, and then after that we started playing really well. I'll go with you, Ryan Force. What was your thoughts on Upson, and what is your thoughts on him? Overall, what would you do with him in the summer?
He's on and off, isn't he? Some games he can play like Perlo, but in the majority of games he doesn't really do a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously he's getting on a bit now, isn't he? So whether he'll fit into the squad next season and in the future years is another question. So I think best bet is to get rid in the summer, because I can't really see him being at the club in the next couple of years, because I don't think he'll fit into the
I mean, to be fair, I completely agree. I remember, what was it, this under Coughlin, to be fair, he was playing really well. I think you couldn't fault any of the players that were playing. They really, suited the system. But yeah, this season he's been pretty poor, to be honest. Jake, what about you? How would you sum up Upson, and what do you reckon his performance against Accrington, and sort of overall thoughts on him?
Look, I'm going to be honest, right? Because I said this on one of the forums, and I got called a fucking knob for saying this. So I'm going to try and be. So I think so. We're trying to say this in voice terms, but for those who sort of have heard my opinions before, I try and be quite balanced and try and give more to say your shit, and he's not. But so I said this with Upson on Tuesday. He played very well Tuesday, but sadly, Upson's at that point in his career, he's not got the speed for League One constantly. I still think he has his place in the squad where, he could play sort of 25, 30 games, whether it's coming off the bench to shore things up, and so on, or he could have a good game from start to finish. I don't think he suits the style going forward. Would I give him another year? Look, if we couldn't get anyone else in, then yeah, sure. Like I said, I do think he's still got a part to play. Not first two pair week in, week out, but yeah, Tuesday he showed what a player he can be. And sadly, I don't think we're going to see that consistently now. I don't want to. Upson scored some important goals for us as well. Let's not forget that.
Scored some proper worldies, and he really.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And I think he, even a lesser game, but I think when he scored against Southend, we were 2-1 down. It was Christmas a couple of years ago, and so he has played an important role. But I think he came in, with the impression that he was going to be like Mansell's replacement, and I think that's what myself thought he was going to be, and it's not quite worked out for him in that well. I think I was quite quick to criticise him when he came in. I think a lot of people did, but I think someone of that nature, and still has their place. Like, if you look at the central of midfield, he's the only real guy we've got with experience I can think off the top of my head. I mean, I know what's on Westbrook's like 24, 25, but when you look in the centre of that park, I think Upson's crucial for a player like Grant sort of to come on. I know he's a slightly different player, but I think he can learn so much off of Upson. So I'd maybe keep him for one more year, I think. But I wouldn't sort of say, right, first game you've got to try and re-sign his Upson for a year. But if the offer was on the table, I think Rovers would be. I say silly not to keep him on for another year, but I think he still has his place. How many times can I say the same thing? Do you know what I mean? I think he's still got his place in the team now.
Yeah. Ed Gilson says best game I've watched Rovers play against Accrington on Tuesday. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was that other game, the Plymouth game, where he won 3-0, but that was sort of it didn't really tell the whole story, because I think Geordie Van Stappishoff
turned up that game, did they? To be fair.
Well, yeah, but even then they still had. If you watched the game, you wouldn't have thought it was like, you would have thought Rovers battered them, but we didn't. They had a lot of they had a lot of chances, and Stappishoff was pretty well. But yeah, Accrington, apart from the little spell, it was quite funny that as soon as we went 4-0 up, Accrington actually started playing better. during the game they were pretty bad. And I mean, I know they were missing a few players, but we did. That press is exceptional. The way every single player pressed, from the back to the front, it was good. Josh, what about you? What's your thoughts on the West Country Perler? What would you do with him?
Talking about me, or he's only 31 years old, and
Yeah.
the thing is, he's a bit Marmite, isn't he? And he does divide a lot of opinion within the fan base. But when he's on it, he's on it. But when he's not, he's
terrible.
he's a passenger.
Yeah.
But he was trusted on Tuesday night, and he stepped up. I mean, I think he won that tackle to set Rodman up on that second goal. But when he's on it and he's on the ball and he's using the ball well, and we retain possession through Upson, and like what Jake said, it'll be good in helping the likes of Grant and stuff with Agogo and that out injured. I think. I think is a matter of who Barton's going to trust next season, and if we start to see a bit more consistency from him from now to the end of the season, if Grant's injury is quite bad, I think he'll probably get him on a short-term contract maybe. But it's the same sort of subject with Rodman. He's an older head, but when you're producing like he has since he's come back in the team and been away for so long, you can't afford to lose further experience next season if we don't bring in further experience. So the likes of Rodman, Upson, and that now could be the catalyst to us staying up.
Yeah, definitely, completely agree. I mean, I was actually going to touch on Rodman as well, because, like you said, there was a mixture of COVID and apparently it was an ear infection, but it managed to last so long because he's literally only come back in since Barton's come in, really. I mean, Tisdale, I think even under Tisdale, he wasn't playing that much, but Barton's really, trusted him. And we know, he's been at Rovers for what, is it 3 years now? I don't even know how long he's been here.
Oh, yeah, 18-19 was his first season, I think.
18-19, so... Yeah. And there's been a lot of games where he's, produced good things, and he's sort of like he's like a consistent player. I don't think I've seen Rodman had a shocker. He's always been, sort of a 7 out of 10. Even sometimes better. And the way he's gone from winger to wing back, because I think it was Coughlin, wasn't it, that brought him in as a wing back, and he was excellent. Rodman on the right wing back, and Leahy, they've done really well. But that's another player I want to talk about, Leahy, because I mean, I think we've gone over it. Quite a few times. But we'll start with Ryan. What's your thoughts on Leahy?
Give him the golden boot already.
Give him the golden boot.
He's probably been one of our standout players this season. He's probably impressed me the most out of anyone in our squad. It wouldn't surprise me if I see him lead the line next season, or because I reckon he's more of a team leader than Aimer.
Yeah,
because he kind of
massively.
He takes that responsibility. He tweeted that after I lost to Hull. He's got more of that captaincy role, I reckon, over Aimer any day of the week. Really.
I completely agree. Yeah, I mean that's probably one of the biggest points talking about Leahy is that you've seen Ema be captain this season, and it's it's such a shame, really, that it hasn't really worked out, because at Gillingham, Ema was this captain, and since he's come to Rovers, he's been pretty awful. I mean, let's all be fair. I think everyone can agree. And yeah, since Leahy's took the captain ban, he's been 9 out of 10 every week. I mean, especially going forward. I know obviously everyone has their thing about his defending, but to think that he's what probably. I mean, he's got 8 goals and 4 assists this season, the most goal contributions at Rovers, which is crazy. Jake, what about you? What's your thoughts on Leahy?
Yeah, he's done very. Sorry, I just read that comment there. Good picture. Yeah, I think it's made me hungry now. Yeah, I think Leahy's really sort of come on leaps and bounds the last few weeks. I've not particularly been his biggest fan. I don't think he came into the club with the best sort of feedback from, I think it was at Walsall, wasn't he? So
Yeah,
he didn't really come in with sort of the biggest fanfare. I think last season, if I'm being honest, I think he had it easy. I don't want to say he was lazy, but when you got Michael Kelly as your only other left back option, he's practically got a free game every time. But I think because Rovers have had different systems in place, he's had to adapt a little bit. Yes, his defending isn't great. He is prone to a mistake. So is everyone at the moment at the back. But I think going forward, he offers a lot more than, and I think for the criticism he gets, I think I look at Lee Brown. I think he offers far more going forward than Lee Brown did, and I think he gets for the most part unwanted criticisms. So I'm not particularly his biggest fan, but I'm going to say when a player does well, and I think he still gets a lot of criticism now. And apart from the whole game, I can't really sort of, since he said he was taking over the captaincy, I can't really pick much wrong with him. So yeah, I think and fair play to him, because he's certainly turned. I think honestly he's turned his Rovers career around. But I think if you look at it, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and I think his contract's up. Say it's up in the summer, for example, I'd have said to just get rid of him and get someone else in. But he's given Barton a headache, because we're well stocked at left back, and I think Barton has a lot of faith in the younger players as well. Obviously, Leahy's only 27, but I think it's given Barton a lot to think about. And yeah, and I'm pleased he's kicked on for him personally. I'm pleased for him, because I think his days were looking numbered here. But yeah, I'm pleased for him that he's really kicked on the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I got a comment from George as well. He said, "Would you give the armband Ema the armband over Luke?" No, definitely not. I think for me, and probably everyone here and a lot of Rovers fans, I think to be honest with you, I think Ema will leave in the summer. I think he's been that bad. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, to be honest,
I nearly popped out there, mate.
I mean, to be honest, but to be honest with you, the player that he was meant to be, I mean, he could do better, but he's slow. He doesn't seem to win a lot. He's not as commanding as we'd all think he'd be, because Jill's in the blood. You come on a couple of weeks ago, and he's been on Gascast a lot, and he's talking about Ema. He sort of said the same thing. He was really consistent at Gillingham, but since he's come to Rovers, and he's just been terrible. He's been. I'm trying to think of who we signed. He's probably been our worst signing. And I mean, maybe he can do better, maybe, but I think we have got a lot of defenders, and I think he might sort of get like a different player. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, like I said, predictions will be go over them in about 10-15 minutes. It's not going to be as long tonight, because I think it's better to keep it a bit shorter. And then also, if you've missed anything, you can watch it on the replay. George also says Leahy has been our most improved player by far. Yeah, completely agree. Josh, what about you? What's your thoughts on Leahy? Because I know we seem to go over it every week. But yeah, what do you think on Leahy?
I think he's a perfect example of someone who's playing to their strengths, and what we're playing now. It plays to his strengths, because if you attack on the front foot, you're going to bring the likes of Leahy strengths into play. Whereas if we're sat back inviting pressure, you see Leahy's worst side. And he's really flourished this season when the pressure's off of him a little bit. He did have a little bit of competition with the likes of Totondo and Koike. So he's one of those really. You see him flying down at wing back. He's one of the front three, and then when they're getting counter attacked, he's one of the last back. But if he's scoring goals, that sort of papers over those cracks. And he scored a lot of goals this season, and he's been much improved from what we signed. He sort of proved a lot of people wrong. A lot of people are sort of raving about him, but with those sort of doubts in mind, because it's like what Jake said. His defensive side isn't his best, and he is a defender first and foremost. But because he's benefiting from our system, is making his game better, and you can't argue with that.
Yeah, it's just been crazy. I think, like George said, he's been the most improved player, because even when he was under Coughlin, I thought that also suited him because he was a wing back. But now we're playing this more attacking sort of pressing game. It suits Leahy, and even Williams. I think Williams is probably, even though he's been here, only since January, he's been one of our best players. He's helped us a lot, I think. And I think, like we've gone on a few times, that's the only sort of good thing Tisdale brought to Rovers was Williams. But yeah, got a few questions as well. Thanks to the Black Cat podcast, Evening Charlie. Good luck in reaching 2,000 subscribers. Appreciate that. We've also got another question from Bradley Duffy. He says, "What do you think of McCormick's future? I heard a rumor that Millwall are interested." Yeah, I mean, that's a good point to go on actually about McCormick, because he's been one of our better players this season. But obviously that's the only thing I think now, because I think he's out of contract at Chelsea in the summer. I've seen a lot of rumours, and obviously I don't think they're going to give him a new deal. He'll probably be off. But start with you on this, Ryan. What's your thoughts on McCormick? Should we try and sign him on a permanent deal?
Yeah, I reckon we should. He's a very good footballer at his young age. So we'd do very well to keep him, I think. I did read about Millwall wanting to buy him in the summer because he's out of contract at Chelsea, obviously. But I think we'd do very well to keep hold of him, and he should be one. We should target him, I reckon, come the summer. Because like you said, he's one of our best youngsters that we've got in squad at the moment. So it'll be very tough to keep hold of him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is as well, I think Barton's getting the best out of him, because, I think he scored 1 or 2 under Tisdale, but he looks so much better because under Tisdale and Garner, he was more used of like as a sort of defensive midfielder, the same as Westbrook. Because now, since Garner's in, Westbrook is shown what we know he can bring, why we signed him in the summer. The fact that he's linking up playing, he said in interviews that he wants to score more. He's looked amazing, and I wish we, Garner and Tisdale done that, because we've seen hardly anything of him, have we, really, until now. But hopefully we can see more of the same. And obviously McCormick is a good one. Just got a question here. Well, when is our first? I mean, to be honest, I think he is back, but he's just still getting up to. I mean, now we've got. Yeah, he's. I think he's been in training for a week or two, but that's the thing with Rovers all season. We've had. Since Day's come in, we've changed it up, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully, he can stay fit, because a fit Yakola is probably the best keeper in the league. I think we can all agree on that. Jake, what about you? What's your thoughts on McCormick? And is it going to be, tough to keep him?
I'd like us to keep him. Will we sign him permanently? Probably unlikely. If he wants to come here, then great. But I think, without looking at this a bit too deep as well, I think if a club like Millwall comes in for him, he doesn't have to move, he doesn't have to relocate, he's in London, so that, especially for someone at a young age, that might be the better thing for him. And I'm not sure if Millwall is the way to go. I always thought maybe Brentford, but if they come up to the Premier League, it won't suit him. But he's been a really good player. I wasn't really his biggest fan, if I'm honest, until maybe just after Christmas. I kind of thought he doesn't bring anything. I thought he did better. I know there's a couple of people on the forums now. As soon as McCormick has a good game, they'll mention me in the comments. Like, you know what I mean? Like, have that and whatever. Do you know what I mean? But so what sort of stood out to me, I think, was the defeat to Accrington. He was probably one of the few players. I'm hoping I'm right saying that he played that game. I'm gonna like a tit if he didn't. But sort of since from that point, he's kind of really come on leaps and bounds. So I'd love for us to keep him. I doubt we will. But if he gets a good move in the summer, he deserves it. Because I don't think anyone can question his work rate. But as you guys touched on there, sort of with Westbrook now flourishing and so on, it's amazing what can happen when you play players in their best positions. Because Tisdale and Garner didn't do that, and I can understand maybe Tisdale to an extent. He's trying to learn the players and trying to adapt, but Garner's signed these players and he's playing them out of position. It didn't make any sense. So, I sort of try to understand sort of what McCormick's best position is. I'm not sure if we saw him as a flat central midfielder and sort of more of a box to box guy, but good player, very good player, and he's more than good enough for League One level, or he's more than ready for League One level. Is Championship maybe a step too far just now? Then who knows? The only way he's going to find out is by getting that experience. So yeah, all the best to him, like.
Yeah, Josh, what about you? Do you reckon we have a chance of getting him? Because I mean, to be honest, I think he's a very experienced head on young shoulders. We've seen from his interviews, he's well spoken and he knows what's good for him. What's your thoughts on it?
I think this loan spell's probably put him in that window. So and the fact that Joey's coming to the club casts a little bit more sort of attention to us, which doesn't help in the fact that we happily pursue him. I know his contract actually ends in 2022, but with that year left, he can sort of go for a nominal fee to the likes of Millwall and stuff. I think Chelsea have made their intentions clear that he's free to negotiate, but he sort of epitomises the energy within the Rovers side, and even if he's deep lying, he's the first to win the ball back, and then we start our sort of our attacking momentum through him, and he's been he's been a pretty decent highlight for a pretty mediocre season up until the Barton era. You could sort of see his will to want to win and his desire to sort of win the ball, and you could see his frustration when he wouldn't, and he bought into that philosophy pretty early on in his Rovers career, albeit we didn't really see it, but you could see that the desire was there from the start. But now he's being implemented in his correct position, like a lot of players are. You're starting to see the real sort of strengths he brings. He is box to box, but he can deep lie, and you can see him spraying the balls out to the wing backs, and he's not scared of a tackle, and I love that about a young Chelsea boys come in. Some people find it or get down into League One, don't really fancy it. This boy's just took to like a duck to water, and he's really sort of flourished, and it'd be a shame if we can't get him. The more he plays it every week, the less likely it is that Rovers got a chance of getting him. But it's whether or not he's engaged with the club as much as he says he is, and if he wants to come back knowing we're in League One next season and we got that ambition to push on. I don't think if there's no ambition next season, in his eyes, then he's going to look elsewhere to an established championship side where he can maybe make that step up again and actually prove himself by doing it the hard way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be honest, my thoughts on this is that I think he's done even better as the season's gone on. And I think with obviously Rovers links to Well and his mate the chairman at Chelsea, hopefully that can be a little persuasion. And to be honest, I think he's not one of them players because including this season, I think he was on loan at Shrewsbury last year. But he hardly played. He only played about 9 games. So even that, the way he's gotten better throughout the season, and it's good to see that he's not even played 40 professional games yet, and he already looks a really good player, and he suits our system because he presses so well, and like you said, he gets the ball back. I think someone said about Grant being fit for tomorrow, touching on Grant as well, the fact that I think it took him till Christmas to get used to League One play, because I thought before that he was pretty poor, but I think he's got on a lot better since. I mean, like Jake said, it's funny that players have got better and know what they're doing since Barton's come in. Since Barton's come in, Grant has been quality. But yeah, obviously touching on quickly what Blakey boy says. Start with you, Ryan. What's your thoughts on Ayunga and Brandon Hanlon? Can they push on and get 20 goals, or is it just adding too much pressure to them both?
Yeah, of course they can. I reckon they can. But the question is all about the service they get. Because we're all good enough creating the chances, but it's about them putting the ball in the back of the net, which 9 times out of 10 they struggle to do. You look at Hanlon having that early opportunity against Shrewsbury the other week. Should have put that in the back of the net. I just don't think Hanlon is clinical enough for us. But he has got a lot of pressure put on his shoulders. But if you get those clear-cut opportunities which we've been creating, you've got to stick the ball in the back of the net, and it's just been a struggle for both Ayunga really and Hanlon.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's frustrating, isn't it? Though Ayunga, I think he could have been a lot better if it weren't for had more starts if it weren't for that injury. I think it affected him a lot. But when he has played, he's looked a lot better than Hanlon. The fact that he can actually hold the ball up, he can take players on like so easily. Like that Accrington game, he looked like a really confident player, and he was just taking players on, just taking the mick really. And I mean, even in the first half, he was doing like a Ronaldo chop. I seen it. He cut in the box and just chopped inside, and you think, wow. But yeah, Jake, what's your thoughts on Ayunga and Hanlon? I mean, is it too much pressure, or what do you think?
Yeah, too much pressure now. Hanlon's already had enough pressure this season on his shoulders. He don't need any more. I think to score 7 goals in a bottom 16 with no service all season, I don't think it's too bad. I know sometimes when you get teams at the bottom, you might get a striker who scores 20-odd goals like we had with Hoskins, but he's not had the service consistently enough. We've not played to his strengths. He can't trap a ball for anything. He reminds me of Joker 4. Like, I mean, he can't get that close, which is fine because that's not always their game. We haven't played to his strengths. I think Hanlon, give it a year or so, he could get 12 to 15. I think there's more potential in Ayunga to get on, kind of take the place of like a Clark Harris, etc. I know they're the same age, but I think there's more to work with in Ayunga. But just see how it goes. I do think Rovers could do with bringing in a more experienced striker. You got You got 3 strikers with, their average age is 21, 22. We can't go into next season with the same 3 strikers we got, or it's going to be the same story. So, not as in response to the comment that was asked, but I think we need to stop. I know the manager said it as well, but I think we need to stop putting pressure on the strikers. Not that they should just be playing with nothing to work for, but I think they've just been under a massive amount of pressure this season. I'm not surprised that we've kind of struggled at that end because of how much that target, if you like, has been put on their backs all season.
Yeah, definitely. Josh, what's your thoughts on this whole situation, and also what sort of player? I mean, is there any players in mind that you'd sort of a more experienced head that you'd want to sign for Rovers as a realistic player? Or
that's a good question.
Put him on the spot now, there, Charlie.
I think that Barton's using his psychology degree to his advantage there when he says about the 20 plus goal. There are 20 plus goal strikers. It's just a complete opposite sort of psychological effect in which Tisdale was trying. It's just the way in which we can force a reaction out of our attacking line, and it works to a degree. And you get a lift. We had a lift with Hanlon with that goal at Shrewsbury. He did waste some chances early doors, but it's just the way in which your manager sort of propels his players and makes them feel $1 million. And I think his man management is starting to show on the pitch, and it's going to be really useful into the summer with new recruitment, with players in which he wants to bring in. In terms of who I'd want, a lot of people would say it, but the likes of, if Billy Bowden is fit and not getting any game time like he has at Preston, he's someone that I look to bring back as an attacking minded player, not a centre forward. I think Ayunga could sort of fulfil that role quite well, and someone with a bit of experience who's coming out of the end of their contract. Whether or not Barton looks to go for someone like Paddy Madden or someone of that ilk, because he's worked with him previously. That's the sort of guy you need.
Yeah,
older, experienced head, scored plenty of goals in League One. We don't have that. The stats of how many league goals we've got in this team previous to this season is quite frightening, and how we went into this season with that many goals at our helm is a bit of a head scratcher. How we scored so many as it is.
Yeah, I mean, that was the frustrating thing. I know, including myself. I don't know how you lot felt, but when we sold Clark Harris and bought in Hanlon, sort of then it was going to be a more. I mean, to be honest, I thought we'd have been all right, but like you said, our 3 strikers, or however many, 3 strikers, Daly, Hanlon, and Ayunga. Like, you look at how many goals they got in the Football League before the start of the season. Daly hadn't scored a goal in the Football League because we got him in January last year. He hardly featured before the season got curtailed. Hanlon had only played two full seasons of professional football, and he'd got 14, 15 goals in 90 odd appearances. And then Ayunga, I don't think he's ever scored in the Football League. He scored plenty down, the 7th, 6th tier, whatever. But yeah, I think, George says Madden is off to Stockport, apparently. I've actually heard that today, but that's the sort of player we need, that's played over 100, 200 games, between sort of 26 to 30 years old. That's the sort of player we need, because like you said, we cannot go on relying on these players with not a lot of experience. And that's a must. I think for me personally, I've said it for a couple of seasons, I'd like to see Joe Pigott, who, funny enough, we're playing against this week, and he's on the thumbnail with Ayunga. But right, we go on to lineups now. Starting off with Ryan, what would be your lineup? Would you keep the same lineup?
I 100% keep the same lineup that we played against Accrington. I think when I saw the lineup on Tuesday, it was slightly different. But the team actually looked held together. They played with a lot of freedom, and they knocked the ball out around nicely. Created so many opportunities that we could have had 7, 8, or 9 goals in the end instead of the 4. But no, I'd like to see the same lineup again, as we had on Tuesday, because it's a must-win game. And if we play the way we did on Tuesday, we'll have no problem in beating Wimbledon tomorrow.
Yeah, I completely agree. Also, everyone in the comments, leave a yes if you'd stick with the same lineup. Also, if you haven't, drop a like on the video. Help it a lot. Jake, we go with you. I'm guessing you're a yes man as well about the lineup.
Always a yes man. Yeah, no, yeah, I keep it the same. Though I think unless maybe you bring in Grant for some perhaps, but sorry, I don't think you laugh. We're laughing at. Yeah. Oh, I've gone all red. Yeah, no, I keep the same. I keep the same team now. I think they all played well Tuesday, and yeah, it's keep it the same. You don't want to change a winning team. I know Clarkey did it, and it got him quite far, but we're not in a position to be fucking about with the lineup for one player. We're not. I think Rovers need 5 wins and a couple of draws, and we should be fine. And I think Saturday's one of those games where that's another win off the list, and just try and see as high as you finish, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Josh, I'm guessing you're the same.
Yeah, you've got to breed some momentum. Don't change a winning team, as they say. I think it'd be stupid to even tweak it a little bit at the moment. If all are fit, then what Barton said the whole game about opportunities, and if they get in and seize it, then they'll retain their place. I can't see him going back on those words.
Yeah, definitely. It has to be done. It has to be the same lineup. Even George said same lineup, but Grant instead. Even Upson, I think he deserves it. He had a really good game, got an assist. He also had a good game going back on the away game against Wimbledon. He got you can call it an assist for Nicholson, but he pretty much ran the whole pitch on his own and scored. But yeah, like you all said, you cannot change a winning team, especially the way we played. Now on to predictions. Everyone in the comments, get your predictions down for tomorrow's game. We'll start off with Ryan. What is your prediction?
Well, we just can't keep a clean sheet, so we're bound to concede at least 1 tomorrow. But we've proven that we can score. And yeah, it is a must-win game, and both sets of players will be, fighting for the 3 points because of how much we both need them. But I want to say, we'll go and win 3-1 because I'm feeling really confident about how Tuesday went. That we'll
3-1. Yeah, I'll take them. Yeah. What about goal scorers for Rovers? Who's your reckon?
I want to see how Young get one. If he starts, I want to see how Young get one, and I want to say a Nicholson brace.
Nicholson brace, yeah, I'd love that. Yeah, sounds good. 3-1. Hopefully we can score a few goals like we did obviously ended 4-2, didn't it, in the last game with I think it was Ben Hennigan and Pigott for them. Obviously there was a crappy penalty, which wasn't even a penalty in the first minute. And then a brace from Hanlon and Nicholson. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Jake, we'll go with you. What are you saying for prediction and goal scorers?
2-0 gas. Not even thinking about it this week. 2-0 Rovers. I think a youngest time will come. I think he'll get a goal tomorrow, and I think Rodman, he's got a bit of a bee in his bonnet. I think he's got points to prove, so I think he might get another one tomorrow. I mean, Wimbledon, I know Ryan said our defence and so on, but Wimbledon are worse in front of goal than we are, and that's pretty fucking special to do that. So, I think they're the second most shot attack. I think they've only scored 32. I think I've got the table in front of me. Yeah, I think they only scored 32 all season. So, yeah, I can't see us. I can't see him getting past the Saturday. There, Pigot's a handful. Always has been. I'm surprised he's not moved on to a better League One club. Got a lot of time and respect for Wimbledon, but they have been poor this season. So, yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 Gas there.
2-0 Gas. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say about Pigott, because I'm pretty sure like every game we've played against Wimbledon, he scores.
Or he's been a threat.
Yeah, always been a big threat because he yeah. But yeah, obviously, actually going off goal scorers, just before you say that, Wimbledon, like we said, I got 2 players to like watch out for. Obviously, the first one is Pigott, 14 goals this season, 4 assists, so that's pretty good. I mean, he always seems to do it, doesn't he? But he never seems to move. I don't know why. And then the second player is Longman. He sort of plays as like a centre forward cam next to Pigott. 5 goals, 1 assist, and then basically every player in their squad has got 2 goals or 1. So yeah, they're definitely the 2 main players to watch out for. Josh, coming to you, what are you saying? Are you feeling confident?
I actually think this is going to be a harder game than Tuesday's game, just because of what like Ryan touched on. It's a very important game for both sides. It could be quite a nervy start, and it could be quite close. And hopefully the quality has sort of come out on top. I think 3-1 Gas. Leahy's going to score a penalty. Ayunga's going to get one, and I think Rodman's on fire, and I think him playing further up the pitch and the fact he can just chop on his left foot and have a go. He had another one after he scored in the second half on his left peg, which
hit the post. Yeah.
He's really impressing me so far, Rodman. I think he's going to be a key player till the end of the season. I think he'll be the difference on Saturday.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. So we got a 2-0 from Jake and a 3-1 from Ryan and Josh. Quickly go in the comments. Bradley Duffy says 3-0, keep them goals coming, clean sheet. I'd love a clean sheet. I was so annoyed on my stream when we conceded because I really wanted a clean sheet. But yeah, I'll take that. George says 3-1 as well. Gav D says 2-1 to the Gas, Nicholson and Rodman. Edward Gilson says 4-2. I mean, that'd be pretty funny, wouldn't it? Another 4-2 against Wimbledon. I'm gonna go. I don't know. I'm gonna go the same score as Accrington. 4-1 Rovers. I think Pigott will score for Wimbledon, and I'm going to go for Nicholson brace again because he done it against them the last game. Also a Leahy penalty. Why not? I'd love to see Leahy get another goal, and also Ayunga. So yeah, 4-1. So should be interesting. But yeah, that's going to come to an end. Thanks everyone for coming on as always, Jake, Ryan, and Josh. Also to everyone in the comments. No worries. Also to everyone in the comments as well. Subscribe if you're new. Obviously, we'll be doing another watch along Saturday, going live from 2:50. If anyone wants to jump in and get in the comments, and hopefully another win. Also, like the stream if you haven't. Go and follow everyone on their socials as well. And yeah, we'll see you for the next preview next Friday at 7 p.m. Up the Gas.
Up the Gas.
Up the Gas.